Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Have you ever been curious about shoulder stand, but thought, that's probably not a pose that's for me? Well, this practice is for you. Today we're going to explore a gentle, supportive variation of that posture that lets you enjoy the many benefits of an inversion, going upside down, without needing to do the full pose. I love coming back to this practice because it helps me to, one, slow down, and two, it shifts my perspective quite literally. My hope is that you'll feel the same too by the end of this class. So grab a blanket and meet me on the yoga mat. Let's move together with curiosity instead of perfection. If you enjoyed this class, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like, leave a comment, and subscribe. It helps others find this channel and lets me keep creating these practices for you. Well, that's it. Let's begin. Roll credits. Let's begin our practice in seated. Just find a comfortable seat. Go ahead and sit on a folded blanket or even a pillow or a block. Just want to make sure you feel that extension of spine, sitting up nice and tall. And you can also close your eyes here so you can just take that journey inside of self. We'll take a full deep breath in, filling up your lungs, and exhale. Let it all go. Feel that release. Again, breathing in, feeling the breath rising up, filling up your lungs, and exhale for the release. Let's add another component to this, which is the abdominal lock. So when we breathe in, we want to keep that uplifting sensation and then create a lock in the belly. So we feel like we're lengthening in this continuous flow upward. So inhale, breathe in, feel the breath rise, fill the lungs. Keep that uplifting sensation when you exhale. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. Feel a light contraction of the abdominal muscles. It really just supports the body, keeps you tall, well lengthened, in seated, in standing, and all the movements that we do in our practice. Let's do it one more time. So a breath in, filling up the lungs. Even feel that expansion across your chest. Exhale. Draw belly in. Good. All right, let's add another movement to this breath. We'll inhale and extend the arms all the way up. Big stretch, reaching towards the sky. And exhale, bringing the arms down, but we're still bringing that belly button in towards spine, keeping that connection so you still feel tall in the spine. Again, breathing in, out and up with the arms, feeling tall and lengthened through the spine. Fill the lungs. Exhale, stay uplifted, belly in, arms come down. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And just a little roll of the shoulders here. Since we're doing shoulder stand, let's get into our shoulders. So a few circles backward and forward. Let's continue our warm-up with a little spinal release. So let's come to hands and knees. And feel free to use that same blanket for a little extra padding. I'm going to unfold mine right here. So there's plenty of space so I can place my knees and hands here. And cat-cow. So inhale to tip the pelvis back, feel the belly drop, create that natural arch in the back, open the heart, lift the chin. That's the in-breath, cow pose. Exhale, tuck the pelvis under, feel the belly button once again draw up, in this case towards spine, feel the curvature, that rounding sensation of the spine, chin to chest, cat. Let's do this a few times. Inhale, arching the back, open the heart. Exhale, tuck pelvis under, belly button draws up, chin to chest. So we're going to do several variations of shoulder stand. So you can choose the one that works best for your body. There's many ways you can be upside down. In general, we're just getting the legs and feet above the heart, going upside down. And to kind of prepare for that, let's move into downward facing dog, because I would also consider that an inverted posture, even though our legs are not up in the air, but the head is down. So let's go ahead and crawl off the blanket for a moment. Keep it handy. Come back to hands and knees. We'll step the hands forward just to set ourselves up. Pressing palms flat into the mat, strong straight arms. You can tuck your toes. I like to do one more cat-cow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Hold that cat position, feeling the engaged core center, and then lift the knees off the ground. Keep the knees very bent. Hips lift, and here's that dipping or the lowering of the head and chest. So here we are upside down, except we don't have the legs up in the air. So we could hop up into handstand. Well, of course, we're not going to be doing that in soft flow, but that, of course, would be a full upside down position. All right, let's just hold here for a moment, a couple more breaths, and we'll get right into the legs in the air for shoulder stand. We can gently come back down to knees, sit back briefly into hero, then off to the side and bring the legs around to the front. The first thing I like to do is create some good support for the head and neck, and that's where the blanket comes in handy again. So a folded blanket, and you'll need to decide how much of a fold you'll want in your pad here for the natural curve that we all have in the neck here. Some have a really kind of a deep concave sensation, maybe less for others. And so the blanket just helps support that part of the body. So place your blanket here. Your head is going to go on the mat. Your shoulders will go right across the top edge of the blanket there. Now I'm going to bring in my bolster and a block. So I'm going to lie down, shoulders right across the edge of the blanket, head is on the mat. Knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And just hold here for a moment. Now, first, all we're going to do is just take legs in the air. So here I'm just going to draw the knees in, and I can extend the legs up. Notice my knees are still bent. This just in the event that maybe your legs don't fully straighten, because they don't have to fully straighten here. You can do this. This is certainly an upside down posture. Inverted, legs in the air. But we're going to continue. We're going to add on to this. But this is wonderful, especially if you don't have any other props to work with. All right, let's set the feet back down. With a good exhale, I'm going to press the feet into the earth, lift the hips, and slide a prop underneath. In this case, I'm just using a block. You can also use a bolster. Go ahead and sit on that prop and then re-extend the legs in the air. Alrighty, so here we're getting much closer to shoulder stand, okay? You might just consider this legs in the air. Very effective, very beneficial. And just holding here, what I like to do initially is start with active legs. I flex the feet or point the toes and just feel the strength of the legs, even the strength of the core, which is allowing the legs to stay in the air. But then I like to add a little bit of movement. It could be any movement, maybe a little bicycle pedaling like this, or I like to point the toes, flex the feet, and circle the ankles. Since we're not standing now on our feet and the feet are free, we can just give them a bit of movement. All right, let's continue our progression towards another version now of shoulder stand, going up a little higher. So from our block, we're just going to stay here, kind of already propped up. Now we're going to get our arms in place. I'm going to bend the arms, kind of rigid robot arms. Press the backs of the arms down into the ground because that's what's going to support us. Very active hands. I'm going to send my feet and legs back and so I can get my hands on my hips. So I can actually lift myself up off that block. And now I'm sitting in my hands. So I'm here. So this is probably where we're going to land and stay as far as our shoulder stand for our practice today. Very minimal. Let me break it down. So we have our blanket, which is supporting not only our back, but creating some good space and support for the neck. So you don't feel like you're going to compress that neck area. Alrighty. Now, our hips are off the ground. They're sitting in our hands, and so we're really literally just sitting in hands with legs in the air. And you can see my knees are bent and my legs are kind of angled back.
And this is fine for this posture. If we're going into the full posture, which I could demonstrate, maybe I will, is to maybe walk the hands more towards mid-back, freeing up the pelvis, which allows the legs to go all the way up, reaching, extending. But since this is soft flow, I'm going to keep this modified, sitting here in the hands, just like this. So that's shoulder stand. Nice inverted posture, very therapeutic. And because you're upside down, you really do have a different perspective, not only of yourself and how it feels, but maybe allows you to maybe see the world around you a little bit differently, taking a new perspective. All right, I'm going to slowly come back down, finding that block to land on right there. Maybe holding here for a few breaths. And then I can bend the knees and carefully bring the feet back down to the ground. You end up in a bridge pose, a nice supported bridge pose. Feeling the body soften, starting to relax. And I'm going to lift my hips to remove the block, coming all the way back down. Just holding here for a moment. So that's shoulder stand, a nice way to practice going upside down. And you can see the variations of that posture from a very minimal version of just extending legs straight up into the air and then allowing the hips to rise to a comfortable place. All right, I'm going to roll to the side, press myself up. Coming back to seated, and I'll use that blanket again. Re-extend the spine as you sit up nice and tall here. Take a breath. And one last movement together. We'll inhale, extend the arms all the way up. And exhale, bring your hands down to your heart. Let's take one more breath in and out. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.